And so came to an end the courier's exploits in the frontier. With Rancor and Blackthorn dead, and the NCR in complete disarray, much of the exiles disbanded. However, there were those who stayed behind. There were some who saw it as an opportunity to begin life as a vigilante peacekeeper, whilst others took the dark path and became the very thing they vowed to destroy. Whilst the airport was overrun by scavengers, they did not take up arms against the NCR civilians. Soon after, what remained of Goose Hollow became a town run by the scavs. It prospered, but would, on one fateful day, burn to the ground as Junkfleet's mayor sought to erase all traces of the exiles. Ashley Jane Tara, the only surviving member of the Wolf Pack, saw herself once again following a pack as she joined the courier on his march through the frontier. Though she wished for stillness, she found little comfort in the idle tidings of civilian life. After the courier returned to the Mojave, she found herself at a loss. She turned to peacekeeping efforts in a desperate attempt to keep herself above board. After the collapse of the exiles, Gray took it upon himself to try and rebuild. He took those still loyal to Blackthorn and formed a new splinter cell of the exiles. His efforts led to little success, as with no serious threats and no mission, the commanding officers became restless and wasted limited resources on gambling and other obscenities. Gray left the exiles in response. He burned his uniform and traveled to Junkfleet, where he spent the rest of his days trading and drinking. With Valerius dead and Ostia destroyed, the Northern Legion quickly disbanded. Most simply integrated into the native Scav population, or used their fighting skill to form raider gangs. A choice few returned to the Legion fort, where Caesar had them put to the cross for their failure. As the war subsided, Junkfleet began to prosper. No longer relying on selling information on factions, they were able to begin more legal operations. Utilizing Junkfleet's water reservoirs and ample space, large swaths of the underground were turned into hydroponic areas. Though the courier would never meet the mayor would eventually become a very powerful figure, albeit from the shadows. As the threat of the war passed, the mayor could no longer tolerate the slums' lawlessness. The guards moved through the slums like fire, arresting or executing the worst of the criminals. The slums would still be considered dangerous, but they would never again be as toxic as they once were. Turner was reluctant to embrace the Church of Eternal Life at first, but eventually he became one of their most loyal members. As his faith grew, his body and mind mutated further, until he became a near identical copy of the previous Guardian. The Church, blissfully ignorant of truth, would continue to operate as they had before, spreading the message of Ghoul Jesus to all who would listen. Their beliefs would eventually extend beyond the frontier, with new chapters being established in the NCR and even in the Midwest. Irvington continued to prosper, even as more and more people began to grow sick. After years of suffering and dozens dead, Dr. Pavus finally created a cure for the disease. With the plague ended, Irvington would grow to rival Junkfleet in size and influence, becoming a beacon of civilization in Portland. Salt Town continued to be prosperous, but some years after the war, mutated ants flooded out of the mine, destroying the town. Salt Town was soon abandoned, its ruins left to the ants. And so it came to an end, the courier's magnum opus, a final adventure to the unknown. The road to Hoover Dam now lay before the courier, an empty slate to be carved. Because war never changes.
What's the plan? I understand. Absolutely. I'll be back at the NCR radio station helping out with things.